Hello everybody, welcome to Twinstock. We are gonna compare these two printers today. On the right side we have the Raise3D E2 printer, and on my left we have the Flashforge Creator 3. We are gonna check these two machines in regards of features they have and also compare the slicing software. These two have different slicers. We will also check the noise level and the print quality. We're gonna print the Razer spinner file on both of these, and we will also talk about service and repair of these two machines. So stay tuned and find out more here at Twinstock. So let's check the features of these two machines. The Flashforge Creator 3 does have a build volume of 300 by 250 by 200 millimeters. It does have the IDEX heads, so you can print in mirror or duplicate mode. The nozzles go up to 300 degrees Celsius, the bed up to 120 degrees Celsius. You can calibrate both nozzles fully automatically. Both have a piezoelectric sensor, and you do not have to do this manually. You can also calibrate the bed, so you have an auto bed leveling, and you have a Wi-Fi function. You have the USB here on the front to print from a USB stick. What you also have are the filament sensors on each door here on the sides. So if you run out of filament, the machine just stops and you can put in your new filament roll and start the print again. Let's see what the Raise3D E2 has to offer. We're just going to peel off the screen protector here. It was in the comments, so I'm just removing this. And you can see it does have a 7-inch screen. It's much bigger and nicer to look at. We have a build volume of 330 by 240 by 240 millimeters. We have the IDEX heads, so you can print in duplicate and mirror mode. The nozzles go up to 300 degrees Celsius. The bed goes up to 110 degrees Celsius. We have the camera built in, so you can watch on the go. We have the filament sensors on each side, and we also have a HEPA filter, so to filter out the fumes. We can auto bed level the bed, but we cannot automatically calibrate the nozzle heights on this one. You only have one touch sensor, and it's on the left extruder. It's not on both extruders, so it's only on the left extruder. If you want to calibrate the nozzle heights, you have to use the video assisted manual here and go through it step by step. It's semi-automatic, it's not a big problem, but the Creator 3 does this better. You have a fully automatic nozzle height calibration, whereas this is semi-automatic. It's not big of a problem. What we have to look at now is the software side. We're going to check the slicing software of both of these printers. They are actually different slicers, and we will see what features we have in there. So we are going to compare these two slicers. We have Flash Print for the Flashforge Creator 3 and Idea Maker for the Raise3D E2 printer. I'm going to start with the Idea Maker. And as you can see, I'm using the beta right now, and this is why I get this welcome screen. I'm just going to close this. You can import the model here, import models. The structure of the software is actually really nice. It's a black theme. I don't really like black themes here, but you cannot change that. It's okay. But the software doesn't really have great options. Maybe too many for me, but that's okay. So I'm going to start to slice this. You can choose the extruder from this side here, left or right. I'm just going to use the left extruder and start slicing. And you have options here for the filaments you're using, for the printer type you have. You can import and export all these stuff here. I'm not going to talk too much on this software because we're going to compare only the main features of these printers. So I'm going to choose the standard PLA template, and you can edit it here. Let's check what we have. As you can see, we have many options here, and we also have special options like ironing or waste mode and so on, which I couldn't find in the Flashforge Flash print software. So I'm just going to note down what we have here to also have it in the Flash print software. We have a layer height of 0.25, 2 shells, and infill of 10% honeycombed structure. The temperatures are at 250 and 45 degrees for the heated bed. Speeds are at 60 millimeters per second and infill speed at 70 millimeters per second. So we're going to use these options also on the Flash print software. Let's save this and slice it. So check the preview. It's going to take us 43 minutes preview, and this is the printer in preview mode. The print in preview mode. You can shift through the layers here and it looks okay. We're going to export this, save it to the disk. Okay, on the desktop. Yes. So we're done here. We're going to use these options on the Flash print software. Start the Flash print software. And one thing you have to do is actually enable the expert mode in preferences. I'm going to get the print here, and printing window type. You can choose basic mode and expert mode. We need this expert mode to change this options. Okay, so we're going to load the spinner. We're going to place it onto the platform and slice it by pressing print. As you can see, we have some options here. You can choose the PLA option and also the speed, low, standard, high, hyperfast or slow. I already changed all the options we need and have a template here as comparison. And we have the layer height 0.25, first layer height 0.30, temperatures to 250, and platform or the bed 45 degrees Celsius. Shell count 2, infill 10%, hexagonal. So that's all the options we choose from the Raise3D software. I'm going to slice this, but as you can see, there are not as many options as you have for the Idea Maker. I'm going to slice this, save the configuration and slice to the desktop, save it on the desktop. Yes. And this is the sliced part. You can shift through the layers here with the slider and it looks okay. Let's send these two files to the printers and see how they are going to turn out after the print. But as you can see, just putting this side by side, the Flashforge, the Idea Maker software is just more polished, on the polished side. You do have much more options here. The slicer options here are with templates. You get great options here in the edit function. You can change anything here, and you also have advanced functions like acceleration and jerk. You can edit here. You can also have, let's see, ironing mode or shell mode if you, or waste mode you want to have. And yeah, I just think the Idea Maker software is a better option than the Flashprint software. But let's see how these two will perform when we get the prints out of the printer. So I have the files here on my USB stick, but before we start the print, I just want to show you the camera in here. On this machine, the camera is inside the chamber and it's fully enclosed, but it is not as rigid as you would like it. What we also have here are these flicker brush assemblies, and these are actually the same as for the Stratasys printers. So if you print, you do not have to use a wipe tower. You can use the flicker brush assembly to brush off the nozzle. One problem we have here is that on the sides you can just get in the print material, and these just are not connected here. And if you try to get in a material, it will not fit most spools. This one is just fitting fine, but if you can see that it's not flush with the surface. So if I just want to use a 1 kilogram spool here, I can put that in, that's okay, but I cannot put on the cover. So if I like to put on the cover, it will not close. So what I did is, and if you force it to close, this structure here is pressing onto the spool and is actually blocking the spool from spinning. And what I did is just get a plastic cap here and fixed it here. So if I close this, it will just push the cover to the outside so that this structure is not blocking the spool like this. And we have it's not flush, it's just bulking out this way. So if you want to use 1 kilogram spools, you have to check if they actually will fit in there. Also the spool diameter, inner diameter, if it's too small, it will not fit onto these spool holders. On the new version they have, the version 2, this is different. So if you get one, get the version 2. So I will just start the printer now, load the material and start the print. So I just loaded the material on the right side, and we're just going to start to measure this. Actually, there is a fan on the bottom side for the electronics, and it's on constantly. So you're going to hear this during every print. You can see we have around 62 dB here, but on the bottom side it's more like 70 dB. I will just measure the front and the back. The side is 58 dB. Back is 60 dB. So it's just heating up the nozzles, and we're gonna check the volume, the noise level when the print starts. Okay, it just started printing, so we are going to measure the level, and it's really loud. We have here 63 dB. On the bottom we have 72 dB. On the side we have 65 dB. Oh, and the back, really loud here. We have 2 fans running, and we have 80 dB on the back. I will just hold this. This is what we get at the back. so the bag is really loud. Let's see, it's just printing not at full speed. It's just printing the first layer. We will have to wait a few minutes and then check what it's going to be on the noise level when the axis is just moving faster. Okay, so we have printed the first layer and it's printing the second layer, and actually the noise level is getting higher and higher. So let's see. We have 65 dB here. 64. And actually there's a vibrating noise coming from the machine. I will try to get this on the microphone. Okay, I don't know if this worked, but it's really loud. Okay, 63 dB. 72 on the bottom. And we have the 80.5 at the back. So we are going to let this finish and get out the print. Compare the print quality with the one from the Raise. First we're going to start the print at the Raise machine, and then we're going to get these two parts out and check how they perform. So the print just finished. I will get this out so you can see how the platform, the bed, is actually mounted. So you just pull on this edge here and get it out. It's a thin bed, but it's not magnetic, so you can flex it a little bit to get the part out. So the part looks like this right now. Let's see if we can get this out. Okay, it's off. It's here. And these are actually mounted by hooks. This is the old version. The new version does have a magnetic bed. So if you want to get this in, you just push it down and push it forward. And that's the print. See? And yeah, the back side is strange. We will look at this later on. That's the part. And let's see if it spins. Ah, yeah. So it does spin. Not as good as I would imagine. Doing it a little bit. So, okay. It's spinning. Some complaints in my comments that these episodes are too long, so I didn't print the Raise3D spinner on the Raise3D E2, but I have one from my first episode, and we're just going to compare this one with the one from the Flashforge Creator 3. I have my gimbal here and my setup, so I'm gonna cut this into the video. This is the part from the Flashforge printer. You can see that it has some how you say, burn marks in there. I think this is because of the filament I have used before. Actually the front side is looking good. If we spin it, it does spin. And the layer heights and the shells are consistent on this one. So the only thing I can see here is that the first layer is a little bit thicker than the other layers. Maybe there was a problem with the Z offset, with the Z0. But all in all, it looks good. We don't have any defects. We can see that the seams are placed on the outer shell here. Let's see if I can get a good focus here. So we have the shells here, the seams. This is different on the Raise3D part. The Raise3D part, you know, we already talked about this, is really great. It spins more freely, and we don't have any defects on the outer shells. And you don't see any seams on this part because it starts at the edge here and you have a gap. I didn't notice this on the first try, on my first episode, but let's see if we can get a focus for this. Let's have a look. And as you can see, there's a gap. I think this is under extrusion on the seam placement, but all in all, this print was really great. As for the one for the Flashforge Creator 3, the prints are great. They are okay. We don't have any defects. Only the first layer is squished here and bigger than the other ones. Yes. So I will show you some of the other prints I have done with the Raise and also with the Flashforge. And this is actually one I did with the Flashforge printer. This is for my Elegoo Mars Pro, and it's just stick together here. It's ABS print. It printed really well actually, but what I have to say here in regards of the Flashforge Creator 3 is that the bed adhesion is sometimes really bad on ABS. So you can see the bottom here. I don't know if you can see this. This was not sticking well. It did print and it also finished, but the bottom sides are not good. Whereas parts for the Raise3D, I've printed many parts, and small parts actually. These are the parts from the Raise, and they are actually really good. They fit together, and you only have to use a gap of 0.1 millimeters to have these slide into each other. But what happened on one of my prints is that I got under extrusion. I will show you this here. And actually this was one of these parts I did print. And it started to under extrude. And what actually happened is that the idler wheel or the screw on the extruder head is getting loose, or was getting loose, because of the fast movements of the head. So I had to get the screw in and get more tension onto the filament, and that was it actually. I also got some lift offs, if you can see this. And this was because of bad calibration or auto leveling. But all in all, it was great, without any defects. You can see here that the layers are squished together because of the bended part here. So what I have to say on this is I will just get everything together and give you my last comments on all of this. Let's start with the print quality. If we look at the parts from the Flashforge Creator 3 and the Raise3D E2, they are actually on the same level. The print quality is really good for both of these printers, and I couldn't find any defects on the outer shells of these parts. If we talk about noise, that's a really different thing. The Flashforge Creator 3 is really noisy. It does have a noise level of about 65 to 80 dB, whereas the Raise is at the range of 55 to 60 dB. So if you want to use the Flashforge here in some kind of classroom, this is too noisy. But if you want to put it somewhere in your basement and can close the door, you will not hear it. But for a classroom or for some kind of a office, it's too loud. So print quality, both are the same. Noise level, the Raise3D wins in this regard. It's much quieter than the Flashforge Creator 3. The other thing is the software. If we look at both of these slicer softwares, the Flashforge software, named FlashPrint, is easy to use, but it does not have as many options as the Idea Maker slicer software. So I do like the Idea Maker software more. I would give Raise3D on this regard again a point and a win, because they are actually doing a great job on maintaining the software. They are getting out betas, they are getting out new features, and if you post something into the forums, you get a reply. So I would say software-wise, the Raise3D E2 wins. The last thing I want to talk is about service. Actually, the Flashforge Creator 3 did have a problem when I first got it. The belt on the Y axis was loose, and I posted a ticket on the forum of Flashforge, and they replied back and they tried to help me out on doing this, but the case is completely clipped. So you have these clips on the sides, and if you want to remove these will going to break. That's what happened actually. I just tried to get off the top cover and the side covers, and all the clips we have in here broke off. So putting these covers back on was not possible anymore. So what I had to do was contact the Flashforge support again, send in my defect printer, and had to pay 180 euros and did get a new one. It was one with 60 hours print time. So it was okay for me, but I had to pay €180 for the exchange. Whereas the Raise3D E2, I didn't have any defects yet. I'm just using it for around a month now. I don't have any problems with the axis or with the extruders. The ticket system is a little bit different here. If you have a problem and you are from Europe, you cannot use their ticket system for the US. So if you put in a ticket there and say I want to have support, they will just redirect you to your reseller. So you have to go over your reseller for having support on the printer. Whereas if you use the forum, the Raise3D forum is really nice. They will actually help you out in on the same day And yeah, I did get a firmware update for this printer in about 1 day or so. So they're working on that and they're really fast. The last thing we have to talk about is price. Yeah, actually the Flashforge Creator 3 is 2,500 euros, whereas the Raise3D is 3,600 euros. So it's 1,100 euro up or more for the Raise printer. The question is if you want to pay that price. I would suggest you get the Raise3D E2 if you have the money, because it does have a more polished software. The interior and also the way they have been designing this printer is much more polished than what is with the Creator 3. But if you don't have the money and you are at the edge of 2,000, 2,500 euros, get the version 2 of the Creator 3. But be aware that this printer is really, really noisy. I will have to say I'm going to use my Raise3D more and maybe get this one into the basement and use it not so often anymore. So that's it actually. If you have any questions or any comments, post it in the comments section. Okay, I will try to answer these, and subscribe to our channel, and see you soon here at Twinstalk.